The Tiny Knight's Big Quest. In a kingdom no bigger than a teacup, nestled under a grand mushroom cap, lived the tiny folk. Their world was perfect until a terrible thing happened. The great acorn, their main source of food, had been stolen. The queen, a kind and gentle soul named Petunia, called for a hero. "Who will venture into the vast garden to retrieve our acorn?" she asked. A hush fell over the crowd. Then a voice piped up, "I will!" It was Sir Pebble, a knight no bigger than a thimble. He was the smallest of all the knights, but his heart was the biggest. He strapped on his tiny sword and his tiny shield, polished to a gleam. "For the kingdom," he declared. His journey was full of big adventures. First, he had to cross the great meadow, a vast expanse of green grass. A grumpy worm grumbled, "Get off my lawn!" as Sir Pebble carefully tiptoed past, his tiny sword held ready. Next, he came to the great puddle, a lake so wide it seemed to stretch forever. He found a fluffy dandelion puff and used it as a parachute, floating gently over the shimmering water. After the puddle, he faced the Whispering Woods, a forest of tall, swaying ferns. He had to climb a giant, colorful flower to get his bearings. The petals were as big as sails, and the stem was a winding green tower. At the top, he met a friendly ladybug named Lottie. "You look lost, little knight," she buzzed. "Where are you headed?" Sir Pebble explained his quest, and Lottie offered to help. "Hop on," she said, and Sir Pebble scrambled onto her back. Lottie flew him high above the garden, a blur of red and black spots, until they reached the edge of the Shadow Goblin's territory. Finally, he reached the Shadow Goblin's lair. It was a dark, damp hole beneath a large rock, and there, in the gloom, sat the great acorn, glowing with a soft light. Sir Pebble's heart pounded with a mix of fear and excitement. Suddenly, a shadow fell over him. The Shadow Goblin. He wasn't a monster, but a clumsy, lanky creature with a mischievous grin. "Well, well," the goblin chuckled. "Look what the wind blew in. A snack for my snack." "The acorn belongs to my people," Sir Pebble squeaked, brandishing his tiny sword. The goblin just laughed, a sound like dry leaves rustling. "It's mine now, little bug," he said, and lunged forward with a clumsy, wobbly step. The fight was less a battle and more a comedy of errors. The goblin swung his long arms, but Sir Pebble was too quick. He ducked and weaved, and the goblin's hands kept getting tangled in his own long legs. "Whoa!" the goblin yelped, tripping over his own foot. Sir Pebble seized his chance. He scrambled up the goblin's leg, using his tiny shield to deflect a stray, flailing toe. He was a brave little climber, and the goblin was too busy trying not to fall to notice. He reached the goblin's shoulder and peered into his ear. "I'm not a bug," he shouted. "I'm a knight, and I'm here for the acorn." The goblin, startled, shook his head so hard Sir Pebble was flung into the air. Sir Pebble landed with a soft thump on the goblin's head. He looked around. The goblin's hair was a tangled mess, full of shiny bits of broken glass and smooth, round pebbles. "I'm a collector," the goblin mumbled, "and you're ruining my collection." Sir Pebble, seeing the goblin's sad eyes, lowered his tiny sword. "That acorn belongs to my people," he squeaked. "It's not a toy, it's our food. Without it, we will be very hungry." The goblin's grin faded. "Oh," he said, his voice quiet. "I didn't know. I just thought it was a pretty, round thing. I'm sorry." Sir Pebble felt a pang of sympathy. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, shiny button he had found on his journey. "I have something else that's shiny," he said. "Would you trade?" The goblin's eyes lit up. He carefully took the button and held it up to the light. It was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. "A button," he gasped. "It's perfect." With a happy sigh, The goblin gently nudged the great acorn out of his lair. "Take it," he said, "and thank you, Tiny Knight. You are a very good friend." Sir Pebble and the goblin shook hands, a tiny hand in a giant one. Sir Pebble rolled the acorn all the way home. It was a long journey, but his heart was light. He had not only saved his kingdom, but he had also made a new friend. The tiny folk cheered and danced as he arrived. Queen Petunia rushed to greet him, her face filled with relief and joy. "You did it, Sir Pebble," she cried. "You saved us all,